Hello and welcome once again to the Edge podcast. On the edge, off the edge, something like that. Do we have a name for it?
Off the edge, over the edge. Yeah,
Yeah.
either will do.
Yeah, there we go. Either way, my name is Chris.
And my name is Bomber.
And we are here to talk about some of the cool things that have been happening and some of the distressing things that have been happening in our town and everything else in between. Some of the sports, some of those parts. It's great to have you here. Bomber, how are you doing?
Good to be here. Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. Hope you are too.
Hey, thanks so much. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been an interesting issue, having a look at some of the things. One of the ones that stuck out for me right off the bat was the Edge needs you. Now, does that mean personally? Does the Edge need me, Mama?
Well,
I've always liked to think so, but
yes, absolutely. We definitely need you to do the podcast recording.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks,
which we're very grateful for. But it's kind of it's an appeal for people out there, our readers, basically. Mm-hmm. It's a strange business setup because our advertisers pay for the costs of the paper, the running costs of the paper.
Sure.
But they're not the end user. The end user is the reader who gets it for free.
Yes.
And the problem is the funding for a newspaper coming solely from advertising. With social media and that sort of thing, the advertising, the ad spend in a newspaper, which is more expensive than online advertising, is slowing right down. It's taking a big dip, and not just us. We'd get very sensitive if it was just us, but it's newspapers all over the world.
All over the world, yeah.
The Daily Maverick, which is a very popular news company online and in print.
They shut down for a day,
They shut down for a day,
Ooh, that was interesting.
It was. And people were saying, oh, what a shame. Are they closing down proper? But it was just to make a stand to say, listen, people, if you don't have accurate reporting of news, none of the big stories are going to make news.
And you're left to opinion and often unresearched opinion.
Absolutely.
Just
unresearched opinion.
Just that opinion. And it's not labeled as opinion, it's labeled often as, no, this is what happened. But, I mean, it's very different with a newspaper.
Absolutely. Newspapers have to do their research. They can't, as I've said in the article, you can't just click and delete. Yeah. Once you've printed a newspaper and distributed it, and somebody finds that it's factually inaccurate or offensive or something like that, they can take you to the cleaners, or whatever they want to do. So a newspaper, a printed newspaper especially, has to be carefully fact-checked as far as possible, and I would say put together with integrity. Whereas a lot of the news online isn't. The sort of clickbait sites, and I'm not talking about newspapers that do publish online as we do. The Daily Maverick does a lot of their publishing online, but they pay for reporters to do fact checking. They pay for reporters to investigate. They've got journalists. The whole thing about state capture, the whole report on that began with their investigative reporters.
Sure.
So we wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for the Daily Maverick. Yeah. Quite important.
Thank you, Daily Maverick. Yeah, no, they do really good. And good journalism should. It should expose, it should be watchdog function. I think you did mention that as well. Yeah. And I know from my side, I've just had such a great appreciation of the Edge over the years, even while we were visiting, and especially now while we've been living here for the past several years, being able to keep up with what's happening in our town, with our neighbors, and with our community. So we want to do absolutely everything that we can to support the Edge. And one of the ways that you spoke about in there are some donations. Like you can go to the website and then run a 15 Rand a month debit order?
Yes, it's a very simple thing to click on the website. And we kind of put a suggestion of 15 Rand a month because it's...
You're not going to say no to 30.
Yeah.
Or 200.
No. You can choose whatever you want.
Very generous, thank you.
But the 15 Rand we suggested simply because it's almost a negligible amount. It's about half a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
that's at most places.
Yeah.
So it's a negligible amount, but if enough people do it, it will really help us to continue printing local news, being the watchdog of the municipality, and
stuff
other
that's going to be
entities.
overlooked otherwise. And really, just to say, because we were speaking about this before, that it's not just to kind of support you. Well, it is to support you, but it's supporting the Edge, which is a community institution. It's part of the lifeblood of our town. So I know I'm passionate about the Edge, and I love it, and I want to fight for it. And I know I'm not the only one. So I think we can keep on thinking of ways to do it, so that you can continue to expose issues or bring the joy out, and we can see things like we'll speak about the sports later on.
Yes,
One of the really interesting ones to talk about obviously comes in on the front page of Promises Unkept. Can we talk a little bit about this? I don't know if I can say tragedy, just this heart-wrenching story.
It is a heart-wrenching story, and it was quite upsetting. I went in to chat to the lady concerned. Okay, so the background is in 2019, I was sent a little invitation to go to a sort of groundbreaking ceremony. It was on Madiba Day, and all the municipal dignitaries were there, the municipal manager, several councillors, the mayor of the time. They were all wearing those hard hats because they were on a building, what was supposed to be a building
Looks
site.
great in a photo, yeah.
They had identified the piece of land. For this lady, she was a widow. She had been on the waiting list for a house since 1998 or 99.
Sure, so that's already 20
it's
odd
a long
years.
time, yeah.
At
And
this point, yeah.
she had basically, what the municipality said when we asked them for comment was that she has been subject, her and her family have been subject to extreme poverty. So they had been chosen to get a new house.
Okay.
They presented her with a promise, a big A3 certificate,
it's sizable.
promising her that this is the house that they were going to get. It had the Knysna municipality logo at the top, which to me is quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see that very clearly on the front cover, on
the front cover. And they explained to her how the house was going to be built, where it was going to be built on the land, and that she would have ownership of it. And that was the last she heard of it. So absolutely nothing has happened in 5 years.
Oof.
She is now living in a really bad, you'll see in the background of the picture we put on the front page, a really bad, I don't even want to call it a shack, because it looks like bits of wood hammered together with, or held together. I don't know. I don't know what it's held together with. Clearly, there's places where rain will get in.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure.
And that's what happened. It actually flooded quite badly in the heavy rains recently.
Yeah.
And a young man called Freegan Gallant noticed it was flooding, went in to talk to her to see what they could do to help, and heard the story.
Yeah.
And basically he said to her, no ways, we can't let this lie. Yeah. He went in and he spoke to one of the councillors, Beauty Charlie, that we've mentioned before.
Yes.
And I've suggested that she couldn't believe what she heard, because they said the first thing she did while they were in her office was phone up some of the dignitaries that had been at the presentation and said, did this really happen? And they all said, yes, it did. Cool. So then she called in Mr. Patuna. He is the director of, I think, public housing, something along those lines. Not the director, sorry. He's the manager of integrated housing, something like that.
Sure, yeah.
And his suggestion, he was also there at the time, but his suggestion was, we can get her a kit house now and just quickly put it up at the Langgewach settlement, where her son currently lives.
Langgewach is the name of the place.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a little sort of community, the newest community, I think, in Smutsville.
Yeah.
Behind the school there.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. We can see it. You can see it kind of from on top. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
not the top houses, not at the top of the ridge. No, it's not those. And that she would get a place, find a piece of land there, and they would build for her there, and she could even get connected to electricity there.
Wow, yeah.
So they said, oh, well, that would be great in the interim while they wait for this long-awaited building, proper house. And then, but when they phoned to see the progress, within a week, there was no answer from him. The councillor did answer their calls and take their calls, but all she could report back was that she could no longer get hold of this integrated housing manager.
It's the brick wall, not the right kind.
That's it. And then, so we actually emailed the communications department of the municipality to say, okay, is this kit house happening?
Yeah.
Is something
is anything happening
for this poor woman?
For this widow with 7 other people. Was it
six other people in this house that
tiny
floods?
Place.
And their answer was basically, yes, she was given a promise, but there was a private company also involved, and they backed out of the whole deal.
The sponsorship kind of fell through, but they promised.
They promised,
and it doesn't matter that it was a previous municipal manager.
No, it doesn't matter, and their logo is on top of the certificate.
Exactly.
That's what gets me. It wasn't.
They
took the glory.
They did. Yes, absolutely. The photos, they had the hard hats. They had all of these, and that's. I mean, that makes your blood boil, right?
It does.
It's absolutely egregious. And it's the institution that promised this.
Yes.
And this kind of leads us on to our next little section over here, where if this institution is doing things that are so wrong, how do we hold them accountable for that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do we lay criminal charges, as kind of what has been done? And if you can lay criminal charges against a municipality, does it go to the chookie?
We don't know.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What do we do? Because so we've got now almost steps towards, I don't know, is it dissolution of the municipality? What's going on with this, with the criminal docket being laid?
Well, yeah, basically the Western Cape provincial government announced that they are laying charges. That is our page 3 story against the municipality. When we talked about it before, about a month and a half ago, when the Western Cape stepped in, when the municipality was really battling, and they stepped in with this "let's fix it" plan.
Yes.
And everyone was saying, "Oh, thank goodness they've stepped in." They laid out ways in which everything had to be done.
And everyone agreed.
It
was one of the,
the municipal council agreed to adopt it. What also came along with that was the threat. And at the time, they threatened criminal charges against the municipal manager. And in one of there was 2 cases. One of them was against the municipal manager. The other one was against the municipal manager and another director.
Okay.
I think it might have been from the waste department.
Yes.
But anyway, they threatened them with criminal charges if all this stuff wasn't done.
Sorted out according to their almost step-by-step, plan
so
and program.
One can understand because the directors and the municipal manager earn very big money every month. The municipal manager, the last time I checked, was over 140,000 Rand a month. So they do earn big salaries. Yeah. So they do have to be held accountable.
Oh, absolutely. And it's an important role, an important job.
Absolutely.
And it is a job.
It's a big job, yeah. So they were the ones threatened with the legal charges, the criminal charges. But it seems now that the Western Cape government are now charging they're moving forward with criminal charges against the municipality.
Not individuals, the municipality.
Yeah, it seems they've said that. The municipality. So I don't know how it works. I don't know how you arrest a municipality.
It's so convoluted. Yeah, it's so. Yeah.
But we'll find out.
And we're going to see the effects of it.
Absolutely,
I would think, kind of as this unrolls and unfurls. What's been the municipality's response to it?
They're basically saying, listen, we're working with what you gave us, and we're doing what we can. Now, it's very difficult to to be able to check, are they making the progress that was promised in the fine print of the document?
Okay.
The suggestions made.
Yes.
We don't know. We have to rely on the Western Cape government and national government, COGTA, corporate governance, to check that they are making the progress at the time and that was laid out before them. Clearly, the Western Cape government are saying they haven't.
Yeah.
I think a large part of it was that waste transfer station.
Yes. Yeah.
That is it's a terrible thing to have right in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
This huge pile of waste.
Oof.
So it's a difficult one, and we'll have to see how that plays out because I think it may go to court.
Yeah.
A press release we got, actually, sometimes it happens on the day of publication. So the paper was already printed, and then we received this press release saying that the Western Cape government are taking the next step forward in...
basically under administration.
They didn't mention the word administration.
Oh, okay.
But they were taking the next step forward, undertones of administration.
Okay.
In taking over the running of the municipality and seeing what they have to do. So what I've been told is when a municipality is put under administration, before they can be, there are various steps that have to be taken.
Sure, yeah.
And
due process,
basically saying, are they governing, are they running the town properly, and steps taken along the way to see if A, they can be helped, or B, they are ignoring those steps that are that there's things that are sent to them, assistance that's sent to them. So we don't know. We'll have to see that it plays whether it plays out or not.
Yeah, I'm just seeing how they are kind of running it at the moment. And they do, seem to be steps heading towards that. And I think they're probably fast tracking that as much as they can before election day, before the votes all go in, that people have this kind of thinking in the fore of their mind. This is something that a lot of the country is even watching, and DA are using a lot. And it seems like they're running with all these steps, and the municipality is also doing their own running. How's our town doing with running and with sports?
I'm glad you brought up the sports. Yeah, we've had Africa's top triathlete.
I mean, that's quite a title, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah. She went to the Africa Games and won the top triathlete.
These triathletes are nuts. They are nuts. They go so far.
Yeah, like they swim. And then they cycle, and then they run.
Yeah.
A long way. I have a feeling that the run. I do a bit of running.
Yeah.
And I think
on the island, right?
On the island, yes, where it's flat.
Which you've been told means that running might not be your thing.
My thing, yes.
Even though you've been running ages, you've run ridiculously
People
far.
have watched me and said, "It's not your thing, is it?" Yeah. The triathletes, shame, it's one of those sports that doesn't really get the recognition from the government. So they pay their own costs.
Oh, wow.
And what have you. And this lady, her parents live in Sedgefield.
Oh, cool.
So her name is... I almost said Tammy there. But anyway... What is her name? Vicky, that's right.
Vicky.
Vicky van der Merwe. Sorry, I drew a blank there. Vicky van der Merwe. Her parents live in Sedgefield, and she loves to come here and train. So she won the
Great
Africa
spot
thing.
For it, huh?
She's waiting for a chance at the Olympics.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that'll be amazing. And she's ticked all the boxes for Olympics. While she was here, she popped up to Port Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm. Did she run there?
She ran and cycled and swam
there.
And her dad, oh my hat, her dad the night before the event, he drove into the garage with the bicycle on the roof.
Oh no.
So
and those bicycles are like more than the garage cost, probably.
Let's not even go there. So she had to borrow a bicycle for the event.
Yeah.
Then she got points knocked off for a false start in I think in the swimming side.
Yeah.
Anyway, she won it.
Oh,
she
no
won
ways.
that event again, and that was the SA champs.
Oh, brilliant.
So she's the top South African.
That's
she's
fantastic.
the top in Africa.
Yeah.
So the team hasn't been announced yet, but we reckon she'll be in
the
for
Olympics.
the team.
Eh?
Yeah, in the Olympics.
Oh, that's fantastic. We've also got some a great golfer.
A great golfer.
I'm sure we've got a few, but this one stood out.
Well, yeah, this is a guy. He's a Knysna golfer. He played in the Knysna Golf Club Championships. He's 14 years old.
That's unbelievable.
And he won it.
Yeah.
He won it. There was a playoff. He obviously had. I'm not a golfer, so I don't really know how he worked.
Did he get an eagle?
But he had. I think he got an eagle.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
in a
or
competition
like
that big, that is absolutely fantastic.
And he. There was a playoff at the end.
Yeah.
Against another a very well qualified golfer, if you qualify as a golfer, and he won it.
And he won it. Oh,
and
that must
the
have been so
youngest
exciting
guy
to see.
ever to win the Knysna Golf.
That's phenomenal.
And they say that there's ex-professionals that play.
Yeah.
There's people that come from all over to play.
Oh,
really.
So definitely one to
big
watch.
feather in his cap.
Oh, that's brilliant. Speaking of feathers, eagles. There's also a rugby club.
A rugby club. That's why you brought up the Eagles. Yes. Yeah, the Sedgefield, the Pick and Pay Sedgefield Eagles, or the Sedgefield Pick and Pay Eagle Stars. That's what they're called.
The Picker Sedgefield Eagle.
They're a great. I've been watching them for a few years now.
Oh, cool.
They really
Where do
are
they
good.
Play?
They play in Smutsville. The Smutsville grounds.
Awesome grounds are beautiful, right?
Yeah, AstroTurf. It's wonderful.
So cool.
That was something that the municipality did right.
Well done.
Quite a few years ago.
Love
It's a ground where several rugby teams and a huge amount of soccer teams train. It's trained on every day, and it's still looking pristine. It really is great. Yeah, Smuts United is one of the soccer teams.
It's great to hear that sports are doing well and that municipalities can do something
these
right.
Eagles are starting to win their games.
Yeah.
They were winning all their games, and then they got boosted up a league last year.
Yeah.
And then they found, now they're in the Super League.
Now they've got to train for it.
So they really had to train.
That's
and now they're doing well again. They're picking up. So
well done to them.
Yeah.
And thanks Pick and Pay, and thanks municipality for
Absolutely,
that one. And Bomber, thank you for your time. Thanks that we could chat through this, and thank you for the edge.
Absolutely. We are forgetting something.
Are we?
We're forgetting the GSGS.
SGEG.
That's it.
Thank you so much for reminding me. Did any of you figure it out? The cryptic crossword clue around that SGEG is...
Scrambled eggs.
Oh, scrambled eggs. So if you unscramble SGEG, you get eggs. So you've had eggs scrambled up. So it's scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs. That's what the answer is.
Amazing. Thanks for that one, Bummer.
Thanks, you, Chris.
Everyone. Have a great 2 weeks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.